Who else was getting a cut? According to this email, 10% was going to the big guy.
This is an embarrassment. An embarrassment to the time and people of this country.
Oh, man. You know, the judge, we had to endure the walls closing in every day with just stupid accusations about Trump. Nothing about him comes close to $250,000 bribe being delivered to Joe's house. I get it. That's where Hunter lived because he had to pay his alimony. He's a middle-aged man. He could find an apartment. This isn't a smoking gun. It's a smoking howitzer.
Well, not only can he... Okay, you know what's amazing about this? Look, this is an impeachment inquiry, all right? You don't blow the wad or the witness at the inquiry, okay? What you do is you wait till the trial. You don't allow anybody to be impeached or cross-examined. You just present the minimal amount of evidence you need to. I mean, come on. It's pathetic.
This is worse than Watergate. That's what CNN said every day about anything Trump did. But in this case, this is worse than Watergate. He had a bribe delivered to his house. He denied knowledge of these business dealings. God knows what he was doing in Ukraine.
Well, and there may be nothing terrible at the end of this road, but when the White House has to keep changing its story about didn't know anything about it, oh, yes, did have dinner, didn't have conversations, yes, knows these people, there are pictures of them, it gives the appearance that there's more we don't know about this whole thing.
Well, let's go to a Democrat. I suppose you think, Jessica, this is a nothing burger.
Sure. That feels like an outdated term because we've been using it for a while, but nothing burger feels just fine to me.
Well, I'm mailing it in today.
I could tell from your A block answer. So 2 things before I get to today, just clarification. You don't drop a wire transfer off at a house like a gold bar, like Bob Menendez would get. It is a wire transfer. It wasn't a ton of cash that showed up. Also, the Viktor Shokin story. Everybody watch former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko on Sunday talking to Brian Kilmeade about this, where he completely destroyed the narrative that Viktor Shokin was helping the Bidens in any way. I would highly recommend that. So for the impeachment inquiry today, first of all, James Comer and the Republicans were unprepared for this. There were a number of rules questions that Jamie Raskin and AOC were asking, procedural, which he didn't know how to deal with, which is just embarrassing if you're a chair of committee. There were no fact witnesses and there was no new evidence. And to set the table, there's a new NBC poll out that says that 56% of Americans are not interested in this. But you know what they are interested in? Keeping the government open. And that's why there were government shutdown clocks. If you are, and I understand, Judge, you say, you don't shoot your wad or whatever analogy on the first day. But if you were to pick 3 witnesses to sit there, would you want 2/3 of them to shoot a hole in your argument? Jesse would have been a better witness for this than Jonathan Turley or Dubinsky. Turley said, I do not believe that the current evidence would support articles of impeachment. Dubinsky says more information needs to be gathered before I can make that assessment.
But that's the whole point.
Preemptively, I know what you're going to say. It's an inquiry.
Point.
That's different.
But then, okay. First of all, you usually lead with your strongest argument. But secondly, they haven't asked for anything new. The whole point of this was, I have more subpoena power. I'm going to get more information. But they just presented the same old BS talking points. GOP aides freaking out, talking to reporters, saying things like, this is an unmitigated disaster. And picking witnesses that refute House Republicans' arguments for impeachment is mind-blowing.
I remember none of this stuff would have mattered if this were Trump.
Right.
She would be,
Yeah.
you would be completely opposite. That's what's so comical about this. This is so funny. I'm enjoying this.
Then can they both be guilty?
What?
Then they're both?
No. Biden's going to jail. Trump's going to be president.
Oh,
Jesse.
Wow.
All right, so Jessica says there's no new evidence. Well,
I complimented you, though. I said you should be a
Okay, well, it
witness.
doesn't let you off the hook, because here's the new evidence they presented. An email from Jim Biden to Hunter Biden.
Oh, the doctored one?
No.
Yeah.
I can work with your father alone. So there goes the I was never in business with my son, because not only were you in business with your son, you were in business with your brother.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So that came from Byron Donalds, and then AOC had the full quote of what happened, and he wasn't talking about working with...
I have the full quote, too.
No, you don't.
I have the full quote,
I've written down
too.
so much more than you. It's astonishing.
Okay, Jessica. I don't need to write it down because I know it cold.
Next slide, please. For my colleagues on the other side, we're going to start talking evidence now. Oh, this is a fun one. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is from 2018. This is about 4 months before Joe Biden launched his campaign for president of the United States, December 2018. The highlight is, this is a text message between Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was in a bad way, by the way. He was really strung out. He lost a bunch of money. He needed help. Jim Biden says, this can work. You need a safe harbor. I can work with your father alone. It'll probably take several months and everybody can read the text.
Earlier today, one of our colleagues, a gentleman from Florida, presented up on this screen something that appeared to be a screenshot of a text message containing or insinuating an explosive allegation. That screenshot of what appeared to be a text message was a fabricated image. It was a fabricated image. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was the staff of the committee, but it was not the actual direct screenshot from that phone. And in fact, I would like to submit to the committee the actual full context from the Ziegler affidavit number 1, exhibit 402, of the full text of that exchange. Do I have permission from the chair? Importantly, what was brought out from that fabricated image excluded critical context that changed the underlying meaning and allegation that was presented up on that screen by this committee and by members of this committee.
And then to Photoshop a text message bubble to make it look like it's reconstructed back on a phone. And this is supposed to be the Republican case for impeachment? I mean, at this point, we should be investigating the investigation for the ethical conduct that is happening on the Republican side of the aisle.